Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad that I'm here with you today. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining me as we continue our weekly discussions based on the book, The Integral Human Being. I'd like to just present a few minutes in terms of what is this that we're studying, right? So, as you can see, chapter 19 of the Integral Human Being, where we're going to be talking today about physical and mental illness. Well, this book is part of the psychological series or psychology collection. And that collection of books is comprised of 16 different books, and they are authored by spiritual author Joanna de Angelis in very close collaboration with Divaldo Pereira Franco. Joanna de Angelis, in this masterpiece of collection of works, is amazing. She created a bridge between spiritism, right? There's this enormous body of work, but spiritism with depth psychology. And here we are just breaking down the concepts that she brings in those books so that we can discuss some of the issues, or in some cases, she provides. Recommendation therapies, etc. And today, more than ever, this topic today, we talk about how vulnerable we are, right? But think in terms of we as part of the humanity as a whole. At this moment, we are going through so much pain, so much suffering, and to me, I like to bring this up every time we meet because I believe this is such a gift. This book discusses root causes and many times solutions to our psychological issues. And the focus, of course, is to ask ourselves, how can I ensure I attain or obtain a sense of balance, stability, emotional maturity, despite everything that goes around us? And we're going over the content of the book just to give you a sense of where we are. For those who have not attended or listened to this program before, the book itself. Is it's a book that is broken down in 40 chapters, and they are divided. The book is divided into 9 parts. As you can see here, we're right smack in the middle. And as I mentioned earlier, today's topic is, the chapter is physical and mental illness, right in the middle of the part, which is the middle of the book itself. And let's just think about it. The chapters, the topics really range from, I don't know, discussing how we live with our daily routine, anxiety, loneliness, all the way to perhaps illnesses, recovery, and a sense of identity. But here I am with you, inviting you to explore with me the themes that Joanna de Angelis brings to us, and front and center, right, from two very different lenses: spiritism and depth psychology. But let's just keep on going, and we're going to go to the first slide here, and we start to talk about diseases. It is truly astonishing to think about the number of physical and mental activities that happens, right? Every single minute, every single second of our lives, either asleep or awake. This body here, this organic structure, is the product of time in terms of evolving structures and adaptations through the time. If we talk about this anthropological evolutionary journey, it it started thousands of years ago, and yet we're still evolving. And quite frankly, if we are honest with ourselves, we are still evolving, and we're presenting such a vulnerability to the external elements that we have, right? What am I talking about? Well, let's think about it. Just today, if you look into what are the most common elements that makes us sick today, and we find outbreaks, right? Outbreaks of I don't know, salmonella, COVID-19. Not so long ago, I remember the mystique or mysterious or worrisome outbreaks of Ebola or Zika or dengue, or even the common flu at this time of the year, with the cold coming to us. We are subject, many of us, to just the common flu, right? And those outbreaks just exemplify how we collectively we are prone to getting sick because of, I don't know, viruses, bacteria, etc. There's a whole different slew of types of elements, external elements that will make us sick. And we can talk about another category completely, which is the degenerative diseases, right? So, what are they? Those are Alzheimer, Parkinson's, for example, are the most common of the degenerative disease class of diseases. And they are, simply put, disorders that destroy our motor neurons. And they affect many of our body's activities, such as, in many cases, our balance, our ability to move, our ability to talk, to breathe, even our heart functions. And many of those diseases are genetic, but and research still evolving, but sometimes the cause is a medical condition that can be originated from, from alcoholism, or a tumor, or even a stroke. So as you can see, really widespread causes for us to getting those degenerative diseases. They can be subject to, I don't know, toxins, chemicals, viruses, and it's still perplexing the scientific community, because the cause may be completely undetected and unknown. So, in so many words, our body is vulnerable to those types of transformations. This physical structure, right, if you start to ponder upon this physical structure, is made of organic tissue that covers all the stuff that is part of who we are. At the lowest level, we can think about hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, for example, to cells, to molecules, to systems such as respiratory system, cardiovascular, digestive, or endocrine system. We have a lot going on in each of our bodies. As a very short person, I am perplexed with so much that goes on in this short body. But from a spiritual and psychological perspective, because that's where Joanna is bringing her pearls of wisdom. Joanna reminds us that the psychism, and what she's referring to are, for example, your soul, your mind, your psyche. Our psychism externalizes itself through the cerebral neurons. So, important for us to start connecting, right? A lot of elements in the organic body, and we mentioned before a number of degenerative diseases that are in the neurons itself, right? Themselves. And she said, well, let's think about how does my mind, my soul externalize itself through the cerebral neurons. And while it is a organic, and even you can talk about mechanic, right? Synapses. So mechanical process. It is also important to talk about the notion that is front and center in Joanna's work, which is our consciousness. And she speaks to it, regardless of it, our psychism, right? Our souls, um, it's externalizing a pre-existence of its conscience. What is she talking about? And does it even make sense to you? Well, let's think. Our consciousness, she's saying to us, is an extra physical factor. Specifically, she's saying, yes, there are interdependencies with our physical and mental health, with our how our mind works, and that interdependence is externalized through those cerebral neurons. Our consciousness is not linked or a product of our brains. So they are interrelated, but one is not part of the other. So I'd like to read what Joanna talks about in this, because it's quite interesting. She keeps referring this this soul, right? What feeds our soul, and she says the sentient energy, right? Consciousness. So the sentient energy pre-existent to and surviving the physical body evolves through reincarnation and their experiences, and they consist in the process of each reincarnation of acquiring knowledge and feelings until the consciousness, reaches a state of wisdom. Okay, so even though there's a lot going on in the body and the brain, and how the synapses, the neurons, and all of it work together as a very, 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 very complex orchestra, um, our consciousness that is a driver to how all of this is well balanced. And I would say our consciousness is maybe the maestro, right? The conductor of it all. It pre-exists and survives this physical experience. Once we understand this process, and we understand that our consciousness is an heir of itself, we see that our spirits learn and transform themselves, utilizing every resource available in each life, in each incarnation, in each journey, right? So, through the path of expansion of this consciousness, we do this one step at a time, and we face challenges, and each one of those challenges are an opportunity for us to uh, be vulnerable, to overcome, to face, to overcome, to triumph over those adversities. And simply put, diseases are just another one of those environmental challenges. But let's just keep on going in this discussion, because now we are talking a little bit, right? We're speaking about diseases, but sick people, right? There is the saying that diseases only exist because there are sick people, and we are sick. what are we talking about? We are physically or mentally sick because our spirit has not attained a place of balance and harmony. If it were, we wouldn't be sick, physically or mentally. And these highly complex molecular organization and all the physical processes are intrinsically connected, interdependent. And Joanna talks about the psychosoma, which is really basically referring to the mental and physical organisms, like the psyche, the mind, and soma, the physical body. So the psychosoma organizes this, right? The psychosoma is the envelope that is of the body that is required for the journey of our spiritual individuation, our spiritual individuality. And it's just a journey, a journey that in this incarnation, let's talk about, I don't know, 75, 85 years of age as and I forget, but the average lifespan of any given person in the planet today. And if we look at it, it is quite brief, right? But we are organized to go through it so that we reach the a little bit more of our individuated journey, or the journey of individuation. Probably it's a better way to say it. So we conclude from reading those pages from Joanna that organic diseases reflect the karmic needs of the spirit, right? What am I talking about? Karma being just another word for the law of action and reaction, right? That law that for everything we do, there is a reaction, and we're responsible for that. What comes out of what we done, and what we done means what we thought, what we said, what we did, and what we chose not to do. And she mentions that because they're things that our spirit claims, right, requires that we put back into a readjustment process. So many of the organic diseases are just that. It is an element of the karmic needs of our spirit, and as such, they invite us, those organic diseases, to put us in a place that we achieve maybe reflections or moral reformulation. And those areas are things that will help us and lead us to a true healing, which is, simply put, it is so simple and it's so hard to do, but it's a state of balance and harmony. And then I said, okay, that's easy enough. Goodbye. But it's not so simple because there are other elements of being sick, right? A group of sick people that we are, which is the element of congenital pathologies. And I'm glad that Joanna brings this third group of diseases, and I just wanted to define what they are. They're just simply any type of disorder that is they stem from their result of structural or functional anomalies, and those anomalies happen during our intrauterine life. They are, in other words, malformation or birth defects. and I would say, yeah, Joanna, tell me about it. Why you're saying that we were sick because we're not balanced, right? And we're still evolving, and because we're vulnerable and evolving, we get sick with external viruses or bacteria. But what about those things that we are born with, those birth defects, for lack of a better word? And she says, and she's quite clear on that. She says this is those types of malformation of a uterus in this case, right? They are a chosen state, chosen by us, right, before we came to this life. And it is what we ask so that we are prevented from falling through a previous uh, issue, right? So it is an opportunity to relive an experience, removing what led us to a huge failure in the past. I I wonder, and this is, of course, putting some judgment. I recently watched the movie about Napoleon Bonaparte, and the brilliant, brilliant, brilliant man who actually was the instrument of quite a number of victories, but a couple of immense losses in battle, but he is ultimately responsible for so many deaths. I wonder what he would do as he's preparing to reincarnate. Would he be an agent, ask to be an agent of peace, or maybe perhaps to have his mental capacity impaired so that he can focus in this life in the feelings versus being what he was, which was simply a genius of bellicose nature to create strategies to kill, right? So this is just an example. I don't know of any of this, but I find it interesting that we are responsible for choosing our own um, life, including if we come and we're born with a certain defect. But we keep going, and we're almost done today. But we're going to talk a little bit about scientific process. I am currently working in a healthcare company, right? So scientific progress in the area of healthcare fascinates me tremendously, and we know those scientific progress, they inject more and more amazing tools and resources, right, to address many different type of pathology. And this technological progress, innovative in many cases, it plays a role, especially if you think in terms holistically speaking, how they are bringing to us preventative measures. And they are here, and I'm talking they as tools, resources, uh, pharma products, right? So vaccines, medications that control blood pressure, all of this, they're here to prevent us from getting sick and or helping us with our quality of life in terms of a healthier lifestyle. So, right? They're here. It takes a lot of research, and those resources that are coming to us, they heal old diseases. And Joanna reminds us, yes, as old diseases, known diseases, and there's some that is still puzzling that scientific community, right? But as the old diseases are tackled, new diseases come. they appear, and this scientific community must face those new challenges, new areas that was unheard, unknown. I remember the how the world dealt with, for example, the crisis with the HIV virus. This is early 80s, where it's just stupefied everybody. What is this? And the difficulties. And this is 80s, so what, 40 years ago, and we're still dealing with that and other diseases come and Joanna reminds us in this that this process happens. There's we have disease, and there's this scientific progress and technological advances. Well, from this community that is able to address that, and we kind of temper or put a cap into how many people are facing terrible diseases because it's either prevented with the therapy or not, and then those new diseases arrive, and she says it is because the this is really important to me, the technological and scientific evolution of society as a whole does not operate, and I'm reading her words, right, does not operate in parallel to the mechanism of moral accomplishments. So the pace, the velocity that we advance from our technological and scientific evolution operates faster than our moral accomplishments. So, yes, we can fix the externalization of a moral disease, and some other way to come up and surface will appear. So, in so many words, we are able to do pretty cool stuff in physical realm, in this physical body, right? There are what I call the potions of youth of the day, because we're able to deal with our teeth decay, our skin, our even some terrible diseases, but we keep moving toward being older, younger, right, as we age, but we continue our youth, our health, our vitality, but we have not really paid too much attention to our mental, our spiritual growth. And so she says we're pretty cool, right? Pretty cool, and those are my words, of course, on this physical stuff, but have no clue on the inner aspect of a human being. And you say, Marcia, what are you talking about? What about Freud and Adler and Jung and all of those psychologists that brought to us? They're just opening up this Pandora box of our psychological, our inner world. And yes, we are just in our infancy looking on how to address that. But back to Joanna, she did say some of some of the challenges when we talk about this realm is the fact that it's so much harder, and they are a result of the conflict from a modern man, right? The conflict between all the conveniences of modern life, the pleasures, the access. We are so, if you think about it, so lucky because there's so much at our fingertips, and yet out of all of those convenience, and this is my take on it, they come to us uh, transactionally, not relationally. They give to us, but there is no one in the schema of innovation and the production of a easier life through technological advances, but we're not looking about how they are as a whole ensuring our inner harmony or a sense of being whole, being, a sense of plenitude as one of her favorite words. Um, Most of us, if you think about, are really disconnected from ourselves, right? We don't know. We close our eyes to all the feelings that we face, that we feel. Our emotional vocabulary is quite poor, and we don't know what causes us to be off balance and what are the elements that put us back to a state of being balanced, of being well mentally, and as a result, physically, right? So, this just means that, yes, we are complex, but also very vulnerable to external, especially those new external elements that are here and they compromise our existence. And because of it, they're compromising the body, the physical machine. They promote a disorganization, right? They promote a chaos at a cellular level, and of course, to make things worse, in addition to at a cellular level, all those things coming to us and not promoting balance and organized systems of processes in our body, how it works. If we think about it, we have this daily dose, as I say, of concerns, worries, stress, tension, frustration, fears, anxiety, phobia, and in many cases, addictive behaviors to cope with all of those. And put it all together in this little package, they promote the somatization into our organic body, and they somatize as a problem, right? And it is very interesting to me because everything is so intricately related, mind and body. So, whatever we're going through physically or emotionally, they lead to mental and or emotional dysfunction. Wanted to go to my last slide, which I love it, and it's a sense of a discussion here that she brings as life cycle. So if you think about a machine, any machine, a car, a washing machine, a blender, right? This equipment, any equipment, requires, demands for its ability to be perfectly efficient, that all the parts must function in the way it was designed, and that is well adjusted for the objective, the overall objective. But we have so many different little parts in any given machine. I think one of the very complex one may be, I don't know, a camera to take photos, or a say a car, especially the newer car with all the electronic components, right? And my flights of fancy. I'm thinking here, even electric cars with all the self-driving components of it, and it's just a lot of sensors and everything working, and it requires a lot, right? It requires that we take a look and we maintain, and we have this dashboard of the inner works for it to be perfectly responding to its original design. But if we flip to us, this body, this organic machine, they also reflect, let's say, the ebbs and flow of our psychic energy, right? And that energy supports our inner processes. If I reflect upon the idea, the notion of those mental vibration, that energy is really interdependent with my own health, right? I start to see, yes. I can either sway into a sense of balance, or on the other, a sense of unbalance or dysfunction. And I do this consciously or not. And consciousness is the key word here, right? Because our consciousness is able to organize, yeah, organize and even subject our physical body. It's a tool, right, to produce healthy effects for a short period of time or longer period of time. But it is really related to this life cycle, this lifespan. So let's think about it again, right? If you go back, modern illnesses, perhaps those that have replaced or even become compound older diseases, right? They're simply a part of our blueprint, our evolutionary map, uh, that is part of this universal, if you will, this cosmic diagram that creates this process of inner harmonization of our bodies. So that inner harmony, that inner balance, is interconnected. But in essence, the energy, our sentient energy, as Joanna calls our consciousness, possesses the all the resources that it must externalize through our life. And she reminds us that, like a plant, right? Let's think about the little seed that we may buy at a store, right? Those little envelopes with the seeds inside. The seed, if we think about it, it contains dormant in it the ability to do the extraordinary um, thing of one day this seed be able to produce a fruit that contains another seed that leads to life. And the extraordinary notion of it is that the seed can only do that if it is subjected to extreme pressure, right? Because of the process of germination, growth, transformation, and indeed production of flowers and fruits, all the way to its end, the end of its own life cycle. So if we focus on our life cycle, and if we focus on the need for a well adjusted mind, and that mind, it is balanced and adjusted in a way that can command our physical body in a very harmonious and ideal way, we all will be healthy. So, with that, I want to say thank you. Thank you. We wrapped up our conversation about mental and physical diseases, but I invite you already to join me next time in the discussion of the next chapter of this book, where we will talk about the tragedy of everyday life. Joanna, she does not. She will say like it is, right? But in this whole part about health and disease. Now she wants to talk about the components of our daily life and how they prevent or augment our ability to be healthy. But with that, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time today and see you soon. Bye, everyone.